Hello, my name is Andreass. I am the head coach of Latvijas, and welcome all football fans. This is Trenera Balss. Well, I hope it's in the same way as everyone does that comes into football, like it's in a playful way. Outside your house, together with friends, like I did. One player brings the ball and you play until it goes dark, or the guy who owns the ball goes home, and then you stop playing. So playful as a child and together with your best buddies. It's a privilege to actually be working with football. First as a player and now as a coach. But yeah, if right now I don't know what else to do. It's a bit sad maybe, but I always think about what could it be if I didn't do this. But when you get older, it's like I've done this for so long now that this is probably my my line of duty for the rest of the life. When I think back on my career like that, I always come to these youth tournaments. It's crazy, but I'm sure I played some really nice games when I was in AIK in Stockholm, and I have some games where I was really in a flow. I felt like really present. Those highlights are great. Some nice derbies too to win. But overall, it's these young, like the tournaments you travel to as a kid. You spend time there, like with your friends, and it's just that joy of being in a youth tournament is great. And I still like to, like there was one here in Latvijas recently, to just watch the kids and the joy and the happiness and the love for football they have. I should admit, it's a good substitute for not playing. I have to admit, I feel that playing is more fun. I don't know if it's acceptable to say that as a coach, but when you play, you engage, your whole body is there. Every cell of you is engaged in it. When you're a coach, it's kind of like just your head, basically. So sometimes after a session or a game or maybe a bad game, I just need an outlet and to go to the gym or run on the beach here, the lovely beach. So I would say like it's a substitute to stay in football, to get like still have that team dynamics. Not so much about the dressing room that people say they love the dressing room, more like being with people that have a passion and a goal and like yeah, a dream, I would say. That's the nice part of being around people that are working with football. I have had a mentor throughout the years, Stuart Baxter, who was also my coach in AIK, who said early in my career, because I asked him the same question that you just asked me, and he said like I'm not a better coach, but I'm a different coach. So it means like yes, I think that I've changed. Maybe in the start you use your energy and your curiosity a bit more than your experience, because your experience is not that big. Then you get experience not only from football but also from life. Maybe during that time you have your family grow or whatever, you go through good things and sad things, and then you use that experience as a coach later. Maybe more experience and unfortunately a bit less curious. I hope to stay curious. That's basically why I'm here, because that's one of the reasons I came to Latvia, because I felt I was curious about this. But it's that mix. So you move and hopefully use the experience in a different way, since you have more of that and less of the other things. Yeah. I think I have a huge respect for the assistant coach role. I think that one is maybe harder, actually, because as a head coach, sometimes you can just like go on, do your thing, and like then people behind you, your assistants, pick up the pieces and try to like make things work because you're just charging on. As assistant, you need to be pretty clever. You need to adapt. Sometimes you have a head coach and then he just disappears. Maybe he gets bought or he gets sacked. Then you have to adapt to a new person and a new team and all that. You also get like a lot of duties thrown on you. Some things that you might not think is the best, and sometimes you actually get to do what you actually think is the best things with football. So I have a lot of respect. So I would say assistant coach is the hardest thing. I have a lot of respect for that. It's also grown in modern football to be like a really highlighted role because you become like an expert within the coaching team in many ways. I also liked it a bit more in one sense that you can go like you can dive deep into something that you get like to be an expert in. I remember I spent a lot of time on game intelligence when I was the assistant coach. I even wrote a book about it and tried to get the players to understand the relationship between the game and time, like the clock and and also spaces to do that. So yeah, to be assistant coach is lovely, but it can also be really hard. Early in before I started coaching, I was in Norway, and of course I was impressed with Rosenborg from Trondheim. They were qualifying for the Champions League a lot, and they also won the championship like every year for more than a decade. And they had Nils Arne Eggen. Fortunately, he's not with us anymore, but he's he was. I went there twice to visit the club. They also had a Swedish coach at the time, so I went to visit, and I got the chance to sit down with Nils Arne and talk about football. And it's just a really lovely, warm memory to be close to him and understand like how you can be really passionate, still be yourself, and still pour that out in a good way on a team and a whole club, and actually I would say a whole city and a whole country in that way. So he was with himself, he was the culture, and he knew how to nurture it and like how to keep it going. I was really impressed, and he was one of them. And then I mentioned Stuart Baxter, that was my mentor for many years and still in contact with. And then it's really hard to get a grip on coaches that are at the highest level, because you don't get that much personality out of them. You see what they do with the team, and you see them on the sideline and their reactions. You see some glimpse of it in documentaries. But I would say like Graham Potter, that is now in West Ham, who was previously in Chelsea and in Brighton. He was also in Sweden, in Östersund, who made a good trip through a Europe League group stage and beat Arsenal away and so on. His impact on Swedish football is one that is a standout for maybe 30 years back. Like the flexible football that he presented to the league and that he played for a couple of seasons was like amazing. So I had the joy, I would say, sometimes to play against him as a coach, to meet him. And you need to prepare, and you need to fight for every meter and every second in those games against him. So I was really impressed. This haven't been like a coach, I think, in that way, even close to him in Sweden in decades. Yeah, I can early see, which is easy to read the standings, that Riga has a really good season, FC, and also that RFS is strong. So those teams are outstanding when it comes to quality and when you look at the league. But then I was told, and I agree on that there was many teams that tried this season to be their best, like to give it a bigger goal, like to really try to be something more than last season. Also us. Everybody didn't succeed, but there's been like a push to be better, to really compete, and that's nice. I think there's a lot of, if you look everything from Meta, who goes with young players, and like there's different styles which I like. So there's interesting coaches in Latvian coaches in the teams, and there are there's some tactics that are interesting too, and I think usually there's games that provide you some excitement and some good battle. What is that I think is that I sense that there's a lot of change between the seasons in the squad. And the squads, especially maybe the teams that are outside of the top 2, top 3, and I think that's might be hard for teams to be consistent and to grow every year. If you change a lot, and also the loan system in Latvia is pretty. It's common that a lot of players are on loan, and then they come and go, and it's really to find some consistency for the clubs who don't have the economy and maybe the resources to just decide a squad. So that's something to work on, I think, and hopefully now we have some consistency for the players who's been here since January and a bit longer, so we can keep developing. Well, I don't see a mental issue with my players. I don't. I would say maybe more than anything that if they believe themselves, I think they can do really well. I think there's no limit to that. Of course, there's a competition. Everybody sees that there's a competition with foreign players too in the league that arrives. So the quality comes in from, not the quality, there's quality here too, but it comes in other qualities from other countries. So I think that I only know the Latvian players that I have, and they are right. They're really putting in, and I think they also have some edge, not only being a player that is so-so, but they also have some edge. It can be their leadership, it can be the attacking phase of the game. Can also be small details in elegant combination play. They all have something which I like. I can sense that there's a hunger for some results. I understand it's humans work like that. If you get some good results and if you play a football that they like to see, more people are eager to follow and come to watch. I hope over time that the club can do that, but also that they can keep the followers and the supporters when the results are not perfect for a period, because no club will just win. So when you try to progress, you will also have some dips in between. So that would be lovely. I think we had a couple of really nice games recently with a big crowd. Which I like, and then people start talking about football downtown, and the interest is bigger. So yeah, that is lovely. But I don't know the history more than I've seen the signs out here. I can read the history, but in the near, the recent history for me is I met a lot of passion. The people I met when I was about to sign, and also the president, they want a lot for this club. They really want this to work, and they are straightforward, and that's pretty much enough for me. If you have the passion and you're straightforward, then I think it's a good base to start working on. Yeah, I would say that coaches overall are judged by the tactics they play. I think many times when you talk to a coach, you forget about the coach might like team dynamics and developing players more than the tactics. I would say that's me, but I also know that tactics is a part of winning games. So I would say overall, if you look back, we played a lot of, my teams has played a lot of back four. It's been maybe back five, 3 central defenders and wing backs to protect a lead in a game. But I have just part of last season when I was in Norrköping, we played with a back five. It's not my thing really. I like to play with a back four because that means that usually in the clubs I've been, we need to sell players, and with that you can have more attacking players. It's really hard to sell wing backs, especially when I've been in Denmark and in Sweden, and central backs doesn't give as much money as strikers and wingers. I played usually with 2 6s, 2 central midfielders, so this has been my base, I would say. And then when I was in AIK, the tradition was 4-4-2. I play that, and then of course you can have a different balance if you play 2 6s that are defending more, or if you play a balance. I remember that we changed the balance totally from one season to another, with maybe 80-20 here, or maybe 70-30 defending to 30-70 for attacking plays. But that also depends on how good your back four and together with keeper, and how hard you can get the team to work. When I went to Gothenburg, and also when I'm here right now, also in Denmark, in Odense, I play with the 10 and 9 and wingers. In Häcken, who actually was here playing with me as a head coach in the European qualification a few years ago against Liepāja, we played really narrow. So we played up the pitch. Then if I would move this white up, we play really with the 9er centrally, the 10er in between, so almost 3 10ers. And then we had 6s, and then the only players providing width was the fullbacks. Really narrow, and a lot of combination play and a lot of small passing here. And yeah, even if the opponent played with 5, we still were really stubborn of trying to expose the central defenders rather than actually entering the sides a lot. Now here, like also in Odense, we used 1 extra plate for a build-up instead of like, well, actually not 1 extra, but just like making a bit of a symmetric build-up. So here we played more like for us then it's been aliens a lot of times playing here, and then we have had another balance, and we also started wider with the wingers than I've done usually. So we have a 9er and a 10er, usually the 10er hiding behind the midfield of the opponent. The fullback not going too high too early, and then we have an isolated wing on the left. So this is no secret to any team in our league here now. If you look at one game, and basically from the start, maybe not my first game against Grobina, but after that, we've been doing something like this. We practice in trainings, we practice to have like this, and try to look at when it's time to open up both sides. It's also possible for us to do the opposite and go on the other side to overload. But right now we have not. So for me, yeah, I think I keep telling the players that we don't need to do much new. We just need to do what we do better. Because it's so easy when something works that you want to have a progression and want to be progressive as a coach, instead of just keep working on stability before you change something more. So yeah, that's us. But this is just positions. It's also important for me that every player that gets the ball look forward. I want, for instance, like if you take a central defender, when he gets the ball, that he looks at number 9. Because if he looks forward this far, then he will see the 6s on the way, he will see the 10er, he will see also in his on the outside the wingers. Instead of, if he just looks down and looks at his teammates to the side, we will never be able to play forward. You don't have to play forward, but you have to look forward. And that means that if you look forward directly, you win time and you can play it forward. But you can also choose not to. If you don't look forward directly, and then after a while start looking forward, then everything is closed usually. It goes too quick in modern football to do that. So I would say, rather than pointing out the system or positions and build up, in Sweden for instance, there's a lot of work on building up with many players. Has been, it's actually changing a bit now. But instead of that, I would say I'm looking for ways to look forward and play forward. Yeah, well, I was that a long time ago. I think it was 2008. I was working with TV for 1 year as the expert for the league, and then I restarted that this spring because during the group stage of the cup I was in that making doing some games. I did all up to the semi-final, and I was to go to the final to do it, but then I signed here, so I couldn't do it. But I like it. I don't like standing like this and talking about being an expert that much, as I like when I have the headphones on and the game is playing. Yeah, to sit together with a commentator and me as an expert, and then have that cooperation and try to put words on the pictures that people already see. It's really lovely to do that, because there's some, and I put loads of hours to prepare. I call coaches, I call players, just to get that feeling for those 90 minutes that's about to be played. So yeah, I like the job. I think it's a really nice one, and also substitute to stay close to the game, not necessarily the dressing room and stuff, but to the game, because two teams play against each other, but we also all play against the game. Like, what is football? Like, the whole thing. The beach is great, but I also like how green it is here. It kind of I'm from up north in Sweden. When you drive here from Riga and well from wherever, it reminds me a bit of those northern parts. We don't have the stork, that bird. We don't have that, but we have a lot of the other things. And then also one thing that Riga, Ventspils, Liepāja for sure, and a few more cities that I've seen. I haven't seen all, of course. It's so green. You keep the parks. Like, someone told me that there's some kind of rule for cutting down trees, that you cannot do that just in your garden. Even if you have, like, there's some rules, you have to apply for that or ask gently, or even you be denied because you need to keep it. It's lovely. It's so nice. It's I think in Sweden we cut down too many trees, so it's kind of like you have the parks, but apart from that it's just like buildings. Here it's like yeah, it's really lovely. I was in Riga and felt the same that I feel here. Like, oh, it's actually a big city, but you still have parks. So I enjoy a lot, like, just walking this city. And getting older, I really had this like need to be close to nature, and this is a great place to be.